Hello, everyone, and welcome to Omni Edition Garden City. I am Dan York, and with me is the Superintendent of the Garden City Public Schools, Derek Fisher. We want to talk about the ballot proposal that is on the upcoming August 2nd ballot regarding the Garden City Public Schools operating millage proposal. First of all, thank you for being here.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
All right. So this one's a little confusing, and the purpose here is simply to get information out to people so they understand what it is. This is a different proposal in that it does not affect very many residents. It does not affect very many homeowners in Garden City.
Correct.
Explain to us exactly what it is.
Sure. Basically, the operating millage is a result of Proposal A going back to roughly 1994. And it gives district the opportunity to continue to levy 18 mills. And this primarily impacts businesses, industry, and rental property, not renters, but the landlords. So any residential property, your homestead property, your primary residence, you are, as a taxpayer, you are not impacted by this local millage.
So the home that I own in Garden City does not pay this particular tax?
Correct, yeah. As the homeowner of that property, you would not be subject to this millage.
Where does the school district's funds come from then to cover the additional balance of the operations of the school district?
Well, that's from our state funding formula. That's from our per pupil funding formula. And essentially, in instances in other districts, when this is not passed, those 18 mills then are removed from your payment, basically your state aid payment.
But again, if this failed, I would not get a tax break.
Yeah, correct. If this fails as a residential taxpayer, you would not get a tax break, and should this pass, you would not see a tax increase.
And it is not a tax I am paying currently myself as a resident.
Correct. This is every 5 years. The operating millage comes up, and we work with the county clerk to make sure we get the ballot language out there, and also to provide information.
The dollar amount of 18 mills, is that uniform amongst every community, or is that Garden City specific?
That would be, in this instance, it would be Garden City specific. So okay. In this instance, 18 mills for us equates to approximately $3.2 million.
Okay, so that's a pretty substantial amount of your budget.
Yeah, correct. I mean, looking at our general fund budget, $44+ million. You take $3.2 million out of that, and it's a significant amount.
So I'm not going to read the entire ballot proposal because it is very long and it is very clumsy to read. We will have it on the screen, and of course you can go to the city's website, gardencitymi.org/vote. That's gardencitymi.org/vote, and see the ballot proposal as well as everything else that's on the August 2nd ballot. But of some of the numbers that are in here, there's a number of 19,178 mills. Now, why does that say that and you say 18?
The maximum school district can levy under state law for the operating millage, it's fixed at 18 mills. But you do have a mechanism to protect yourself against a Headley rollback. So in the instance that there's an issue with Headley, there's always some leverage that you're legally afforded, so that you can maintain that 18 mills. Because if we were subject to Headley in this case, and let's say it was for 1 mill, then we would only have the capacity to bring in 17 mills. So that ballot language is a little confusing, but it's important to note that I think it does reflect that there's a maximum amount of 18 mills.
And this has only become necessary since the passage of the Headley Amendment.
Yes, that, and with the operating millage in particular, with Proposal A, I believe in 1994.
Okay, Proposal A and Headley passed simultaneously. So who are the people, and I know you've said it one more time, but let's reinforce it. Who are the people then that this affects? Who are the people that actually pay this operating millage?
It would be business owners, industry, and then also anybody with rental property.
Okay, so anything that is not homesteaded.
Correct.
Okay, so if I own a home here and I own a home up north, this property is homesteaded.
Correct.
the property I have up north in most cases.
Yep.
Your primary residence is
your
homesteaded.
property.
Right, so that does not affect those people.
Correct.
Do you find that people have trouble with that concept?
You know, I would say based on the history, the history of the polls, and this has always passed. It's always, to my knowledge, always been renewed since Proposal A's passage in 1994. I would say by and large the voters of the community understand.
Okay, so again, this is a part of the November 2nd ballot, I'm sorry, the August 2nd
Correct,
ballot.
August 2nd ballot.
It is called the Garden City Public School Operating Millage Proposal. And again, if the residents, it does not affect the majority of the residents in Garden City.
Correct.
I mean, it's just, I realize I'm kind of repeating myself, but that's the whole thing.
No,
right?
and I absolutely, I can relate with the repetition because I've feel like I've kind of repeated myself with this too, just because the ballot language by the legal jargon, the ballot language, and again, we don't create that ballot language. Lawyers create that for us to be compliant with,
Right.
You know, the expectations for the clerks. But it does seem kind of repetitive. But again, this does not impact the residential taxpayer of the homesteaded property, and again, a product of Proposal A. And we're just willing to provide information for those folks who do have questions about it.
All right, if people have additional questions, who do they contact?
They can go to our website at gardencityschools.com. There's a presentation that I presented to the board under operating millage. They can find that on the top left-hand corner of the website. And if they have additional questions, they can contact me via 734-762-6311.
Very good. Well, I want to thank you for taking time to talk about this for the residents. Again, we're not asking people to vote yes. We're not asking people to vote no. We are just laying it out there as to this is the ballot proposal and this is what it means.
Right. And sure, I mean, people are, the big question is what would you use an operating millage to fund? Utility costs, for instance, operations costs, custodial fees, that type of thing.
This is separate from the building bond issue.
Absolutely.
This is separate from the sinking fund.
Absolutely.
This is separate from everything else. And again, the majority of the money that you receive for operations is that formula money that comes from the state of
state aid.
X amount of dollars per child.
Correct.
Per student that comes from the state of Michigan through everyone's property taxes, but it's the state that's deciding how that is allocated.
Yes.
All right, very good. Well, thank you very much for talking to folks about this.
Appreciate it.
And we'll have you back for another interview to talk about other things going on in the school district this summer.
Thank you.
All right, that's it for this special edition of Omni Edition Garden City. I'm Dan York. Thanks for watching. Good night, everyone.